MySQL is an open source. You can download it from some links are there here in this. So you can download from the links in W3 schools. You can find those links. MySQL.com. Here you can say get that MySQL database. Instead of that, if you go with the Bitnami or WAMStack or XAMStack, it will be along with that package. So here we will go how we can connect. Using from PHP, how we can connect to the MySQL database. There are three types of connections. Like generally, we use PDO objects or MySQL Connect, that is procedure oriented or object oriented. These three types of connections are there while using PHP and MySQL.
But first page ఏంటంటే ముఖ్యంగా అలా పెట్టేశారు దాన్ని మనం ఏంటంటే ఫస్ట్ పేజ్ ఒకటి తర్వాత మెంబర్స్ అని చెప్పేసి ఒక ఇది అదొకటి రెండు
Yesterday we discussed PDO objects, PHP data objects. These are the recent topics where we can use different. Example, if you develop your application on Windows server and if you want to install that application on a Linux server, we can use PDO objects and we can do that. Similarly, MySQL I extension, this I stands for include. This is one type of connection which we can use. In this MySQL extension we have two types again. There is like object oriented and procedure oriented. You can see here MySQL object oriented, MySQL I procedure. That means line by line, or you can create a objects, MySQL objects, and we can connect to the database. And the PDO objects, yesterday I showed you in php.ini we have the PDO object extension. See here, MySQL PHP PDO, PHP data objects. This option, if you want to use PDO objects, you have to enable this DLL function in php.ini. Similarly, if you want to use MySQL I, you have to enable this extension, MySQL I extension. And if you want to use general PHP MySQL, you have to enable this extension. Restart the services once. You have to restart all the services. So this is the example where we can directly use. This is like a MySQL object oriented. Here you can see, right, new MySQL I. New means we are creating new object here. Similarly, our MySQL I procedure, this is a direct connection. We will see the examples here now. And the PDO is like a new connection, PDO object. Here we are giving MySQL server name, DB name, username and password. So we will see the general. Today's session we will discuss only about the MySQL procedure connection because it is mostly used. Here our server name is localhost, username is root, password is root123. While configuring your web server, this password settings will be enabled. If you want to change this username and password, you can do from the MySQL folder also. Here we are creating a connection, MySQL I connect. Here you can see the server name. We are passing the variables like server name, username and password. And checking here we are checking the connection. If the connection is not connected, connection failed, MySQL connection error, we are throwing, this is the function where we get the error message. Similarly, here in the else condition, whenever the connection is connected, this message, echo message will be printed on the screen. We will try to run this one. Here we are able to connect to the database because we have passed the correct server name, root and root 123 password. We have passed all the variables correct. If I change the password,
అంటే ఏపీ గవర్నమెంట్ ఎన్టీఆర్ గవర్నమెంట్ సబ్మిట్ చేస్తారు అర్థమైంది కదా లాజిక్
connection failed. Here we are getting this error message also. Root username root @localhost using password is this means here as it's security issues, this password will not be displayed, but it is showing that we are giving some password. So here if you change the password, it is not connecting, so connection failed. This is how we check whether we are able to connect to the server or not. In similar, we'll try to create some database, we will create tables, and we will try to update some queries using MySQL update, MySQL select. So similarly, we will have to close the connection also. MySQL I_close. So this is the place where we close the connection. As I told you earlier, we use resource variables, right? Resource variables are used whenever you want to assign some values, like resource variables come if you want to assign some connection, if you want to close the connection, or if you want to assign some file and close the file, that is reading a file and close the file, writing to a file and closing the file. These are resource variables. So here we have to close this SQL I connection. If not, some memory leakages will happen, and this will cause the performance issues to the website. So you have to close the connections also. Here we will see how we can create the database. As mentioned yesterday, in PHP admin you can directly create database using interface. But if you don't have the access to the interface, then you have to write some code, and then you have to create the database. Whatever the privileges you want, the complete information you have to do using code only. So here in this create, we will see how we can use database using MySQL I, that is procedure oriented. See, already we gave this username, server name, username and password. Here we are checking, we are passing the variables to the MySQL I connect function, and we are checking the connection. If the connection is that is database connected, it will show that the echo or that the database is connected. Now we will create this example. SQL create database MyDB. I'm trying to create some database and close the connection. Create database. PHP classes, MySQL I. We are passing this connection variable and this query. Echo database created successfully or error creating database, and we will get this MySQL I_error. We are passing this connection variable, so we will get the error here, and we will close the connection. See.
Mail పంపిస్తాను మేడం ఫస్ట్
you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen?
ఫస్ట్ పేజీ కొంత ఎడిట్ చేస్తాను మధ్యలో ఈ 2 పేజీలు 2 తయారు చేసినప్పుడు మేడం మెయిల్ పెడతాం అది ఎప్పుడు తీసుకుంటాం మ్యాటర్ యాక్సెస్ పెట్టేద్దాము అప్రోచ్ ఇంకేమో పాయింట్ మనం ఇంప్లిమెంటేషన్ యాంగిల్స్ ఉంటే ప్రజెంటేషన్లో పెట్టాం అది లాస్ట్ పెట్టుకోండి అది ప్రజెంటేషన్లో వెళ్ళాలి రైట్ అందులో పెట్టుకుంటే బాగుంటుంది ఆలోచన జాగ్రత్త అలాగే ఆల్రెడీ మనం చేసిన రఫ్ ప్రజెంటేషన్
database name is testing. So if I run this program,
వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఇది ఓకే అవుతుంది
database created successfully. Here in this, if you refresh this page,
అయితే మనం అప్పుడు ఆ టైం చూపించవచ్చు
see here test is created. This database is created, but we don't have any tables in that. So we don't have anything. Just table database is created using this create database query. So similarly, we will create some tables in this database.
నేను కూడా అవి యాక్చువల్గా డెప్త్గా చూద్దామనేసి రేపు ప్రజెంటేషన్ ఆల్రెడీ ఉన్నది కొంచెం అటు ఇటు సర్టిఫైడ్ చేసి
So we will have some declaring a structure where you are creating some columns in the table. We will have different types of features like whether the value must be null or not null. If not null means it won't accept. Null values are not allowed in that column. Similarly, default value. Default value, if anything is not passed, then default value will be sent by default. Example, if you are saying my with the name as test1, default value you have kept test1, and I am not passing any value to that column means then the value test1 will be placed in this when you are entering the data. So unsigned, auto increment, primary key, these are all the other parameters, other types where we use when you are creating the columns. So here in MySQL procedure, here we have made the connection, we have created the database also. Now we will see how we can create table in that. Here DB name we have to mention, that is testing. So here we are passing the same connection, we are making the connection, and now this is the table. We are creating some table with the name my guest. Here ID we are creating, first name, last name, email, registration date, that is timestamp. Here email is varchar, last name is varchar, first name is varchar, int id is int6. So this is auto is made as the primary. So when you try to run this program, you have to see that the table guest is created successfully. If not, there may be some error. So table my guest is created successfully. If you go to this database and if you try to refresh this, you can see here my guest is created here, database, sorry, table. In testing database we can see the my guest table. If you go to the structure, you can see all the columns that you have mentioned like ID, first name, last name, email, registration date. This is the timestamp. That is, whatever the current timestamp is there, that will be stored in this column. Any questions till now? Any questions related to creating the database, creating tables, connection? No questions? Okay. So we have created database, we have created tables in that, and now it's time to insert some data into that tables. Using PHPMyAdmin, you can directly enter the data, but when you are trying to fetch some dynamic data from other queries, like a registration table is there, and you enter some information like your name, your ID, your email ID, everything, and you want to insert that into the table. You can't use PHPMyAdmin. Then you have to write some queries and some action must happen, and then only this data will insert into the database. So we have to write some insert queries using MySQLite, and then we have to input this data. Here we can see that. So I am writing the query in first name, last name, email, values. Here values we are passing as John Dio example.com. If you are using PHP, example, you have created your form we have seen, right? My $_post of first name, $_post of last name. If that values we are getting dynamically, then just we will place in the place of values here. Example, John is there. In that place, we will replace with the $_post of first name. Similarly, values, $_post of $email ID. In these three fields, we will place the dynamic values, and whenever you submit this, automatically the values will be posted. Now, server, this registration and date, this column will take the value of server, not the client. This is how we make a connection and insert data. If you want want to use any update query also, similarly we will use a SQL update and we will pass this SQL query. We will see that also.
అదే బాగుంటుంది సర్దుబాటు చేద్దాం అంటే మిగతా వాళ్ళకి ఓకే అంటే వాళ్ళకి శాంపుల్స్ తెచ్చారు వాళ్ళు చెయ్యరు వాళ్ళు ఫార్మా బాగుందంటే మనం డెస్క్టాప్ వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తాం లేదా మనం అలా చేస్తాం అదే టీటీపీ ఇస్తాం కాదా మనం మ్యాటర్ వాళ్ళు ఓకే చేయాలనుకుంటారు అప్పుడు టీటీపీకి ఇస్తాం మీకు అర్థమైందా దాంట్లో పెట్టాం
This is the condition where we want to
వాళ్ళకి
update the example this might is having some
రూల్ ప్రకారం ఈ ఆపం
then I use this condition update my guest set last name, this is a column name and where I will equal to 1.
ఆ ప్రకారం ఇది ఇలా ఉండొచ్చు ఇలా ఉండొచ్చు అంటే దాన్ని అందంగా చేయాలని తర్వాత ఇది రూల్ ప్రకారం ఇలా ఉండాలి ఎప్రూవ్ అవ్వాలి ఎప్రూవ్ అని పంపిస్తున్నాను
SQL query
అర్థం కదా
for application and space message. Got application system. Earlier we have seen here last name as Leo.
ఎందుకు రావట్లేదు
Right.
చూద్దాంలే ఇంకా నాకు మ్యాటర్ ఓకే అయితే
Last name as
అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇది ఓన్లీ మ్యాటర్ అప్రూవల్ మాత్రమే పెడతాను
Similarly, we can get the information using selects.
రౌండ్గా రౌండ్గా చూస్తాం ఇలా నొక్కినట్టు కోడి గుద్ద అది ఉండాలి ఏంటంటే
So here,
రౌండ్ వచ్చింది
if you see this, I'm using some select query, select ID, first name, last name from list.
అనిపించి అందంగా ఉండాలి
I'm just writing, I want to fetch all the data. Here in the result, I'm trying to query this one. This function. If MySQL underscore number of rows, that is, this is a function where we can find the count of rows that are available in the table. So if it is greater than 0, then we are running some value, echo ID, dollar row of ID, and the name as first name and contact name in the last name. And I am closing the connection, then the output is ID is 1, name is John and test. As we are conducted first and last name. Thus, PHP can be divided both relational and non-relational databases. Can you give some examples of these databases, like relational and non-relational databases? PHP can support any type of database. That is either Oracle or MySQL or Postgres, where any type of database can be a backend for PHP. The guide which we are writing here, like the way we are writing, that may vary. Content management system is, see, PHP is the basic course, a basic concept for any content management system like Drupal or Joomla or WordPress. If you have the knowledge of PHP programming, you can learn that easily, Drupal or PHP. And anyone who is having beginner knowledge of PHP, they can start using Drupal. And the way the Drupal or WordPress or Joomla works is different. That is, they have their own API that is built on PHP. So for the first question, does PHP can be integrated with relational and non-relational database? Is it clear? Or do you need any more clarity on that? Basic concepts like selecting, updating and deleting. If you want to delete the table also, you can delete the table using PHP code. You can write those functions also. This is how we have to interact with the database and we have to store the information. Whenever you are using whenever you want to store some information like user info or employee information, something, then you have to use this MySQL queries and you have to store the information in the database. This is very useful because we have to maintain some information in the database, user information. Whenever a user comes back, we have to see whether the user is already existing or not. Whenever user has come back, when did he last visit, when was his last visit, this type of information is stored in the database. So there might be some other programming languages where we don't need this database, like JSON objects. So we can store the information in the JSON objects itself and we can get the information from them. But in PHP, we can write programs without the database also. But using the database is the place where we have to store the information or all the information that is which is done fast, like transactions which will be done on the whenever you are using information to be stored in the database. So we have to, along with the PHP, we have to know MySQL also plays a key role. Any questions till now? Just a quick question. I want to as like this. Can you work out this and can you post me the code? Or just explain how can you do this? Can anyone post the answer?
ఇవాళ మధ్యాహ్నం బయట నుంచి రమ్మన్నాను సార్ ఆయన వస్తారు అంటే నేను కాబట్టి కొంచెం అటు ఇటు ఊళ్ళే హెల్ప్ఫుల్గా ఉంటుంది మధ్యాహ్నం ఇక్కడికి వస్తే సార్ అసోసియేట్ అవుతారు మాట్లాడతారు మధ్యాహ్నం వస్తారు కదా సార్ 3 o'clock వస్తారు.
Are you able to see the screen? See here, this is the original screen. Using some string functions, I want to print this string as on. Yes, we can use this for reversing the string. Explode. Explode means again. Explode on space. Then how do you affect that? How do you affect the array? what I was expecting is not that.
నీవు పేర్లు చూసుకుని కింద వంట పడతావు నీ ఓన్లీ ఆ కొట్టడానికి రెఫరెన్స్ మీరు తప్పు లేకుండా ఇలా కింద వంట కొట్టేసుకుని ఏం చేసుకుంటాం ఏం చేసుకుంటాం ఏంటంటే ఈ పేరు లేకుండా
Yeah, you were exploding that time. Then how do you make that array? That array in the string. What is the function that is used? Using explode with you are breaking that string.
సూపర్విషన్
Okay, array of 0, 1,
Project
2 is
monitoring
formed.
ఉంది.
That is above my sequence
మనకి
database.
అర్థం
Array of 0 you are reversing.
Actions కోసం
Array of 1 you are reversing. Array of 2 you are reversing. Then how do you make that as a string? How do you use standard or do you use any other function? How do you do it? Have less number of
అందుకే ప్రాజెక్ట్ మానిటరింగ్ యూనిట్ అని
about my
ఎందుకు
SQL
పెట్టాను
database.
కరెక్ట్గా
We have only the arrays like in a single array we have 3 attributes. Array 0, array 1, array 2. But you have a long string. Then it's better to use float. Push all these attributes into an array and then import that. Then the string will be formed. Explode after that. Explode reverse the string. What is the function that is used to if I have an array? Okay. See,
నామినీ ఎవరు దానికి ఏంటంటే నా పేరు
okay, these two are two arrays. So I want to form an array that is
చాలా
where I want to
బ్రౌజర్ కంట్రోల్ చేస్తారు డాక్టరేట్ ఎక్స్టెండ్ బ్రౌజర్లో ఉంటాయి కోఆర్డినేట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్ అంటే జీవో నుంచి వర్డ్ జీవో నుంచి దాటకూడదు అంటే సంపంగి
want to form an array where I want to make this and values. Can you tell me the function which can be used? apple taste red, pink, red, yellow. I want to combine all the attributes into single array. Do that like that. One more array with Iisem. What is the function that can be used? Are you able to see the question? I just want to combine these two. Apple, pink, test, red, all the parameters in a single array. All the elements of the array in a single array. Merge is used to combine elements into it. Dollar we will use where is the keyword? Already keyword, so it's better to avoid all those keywords. Trying to run this.
అలాగే ఒక చేయి ఈ ఆంధ్రంలో 5 నామినేషన్ మెంబర్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎక్సెల్లో మిగతా 4 పేర్లకి
So we have to use explode. After that we have to reverse the string. And then we have to
అదే తీసేసేయాలి పేర్లు మెంబర్ అంటారు.
Split is also like the explode only, but here this is not working. See here we are trying, if you see the example, I'm trying to reverse each word, not all the complete string I'm not reversing. Here I see the, if I want to reverse the complete string I can directly use string reverse, but I'm not completely reversing the complete string. I'm using just word, I'm reversing each word. So you have to explode, then reverse, then implode. try to explore the string, then the string will be breaked into words and then will be converted as array. So, visual notes. See, whenever you are using explore,
మీకు నేను ఒక సెట్ ఆఫ్ స్పెక్స్ రెడీ చేశాను. అంటే మీరు ఆల్రెడీ టెండర్ పంపించారని రివ్యూ అనౌన్స్. అయితే అంటే మీరు ఆ పాత స్పెక్స్ తోటే పంపించారండి.
add explore or spaces as a string.
అంటే మా మీటింగ్ టైంకి అయిపోయింది. మీటింగ్ తర్వాత
Each word will be break with the spaces as a separation, and then it will be formed as an array.
అది అంటే నేను మీకు మర్చిపోయింది ఏంటంటే ఆ రోజు నేను చెప్పా కదా యూఎస్ బేస్డ్ కంపెనీకి అని చెప్పి ఇంకా లేటెస్ట్ స్పెక్స్ తెప్పించాను. కానీ అది చేయడానికి కావాలి కదా మనకి చూస్తే పేపర్ వెళ్ళిపోయింది. ఎందుకంటే అవి చాలా మంచి లేటెస్ట్ స్పెక్స్, బాగా టెక్నికల్ బయట స్పెక్స్. అంటే ఆ కంపెనీకి రాయడం వాళ్ళని తీసుకోవాలన్నా కొద్దిగా ఆలస్యం కొద్దిగా ఉండాలి. చూడండి కాకపోతే ఓకే ఓకే అంటే మీకు అఫ్కోర్స్ అలాగా అంటే ఎన్ని తీసుకుంటున్నారు ఇప్పుడు ఎన్ని తీసుకుంటున్నారు? ఓకే ఓకే అవునండి. అలా అయితే నేను ఇది మీకు వర్క్ చేస్తాను, అలాగే నేను మెయిల్ చేస్తాను స్టూడెంట్స్. ఓకే టెండర్ టైం ఉంది కదా, ఇంకా మీరు ఇచ్చిన బిడ్డ 1-3 ఇచ్చామన్నారు. ఓకే టెండర్ టైం లాస్ట్ టెండర్ సబ్మిషన్ 21st. ఓకే అంటే 21st రావాలి నేను అక్కడ. అంటే లెటర్ వచ్చింది నాకు, లెటర్ చూస్తే కాదు. అంటే నేను మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ దాంట్లో ఉండిపోయాను కదా, ఆటోమేషన్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ దాంట్లో. అసలు ఈ సంగతి మర్చిపోయాను. లెటర్ చూడగానే అవునా నేను కొత్త స్పెక్స్ తెప్పించాను కదా అని నాకు గుర్తు వచ్చింది తర్వాత. యాక్చువల్గా మీ మీటింగ్ 2-3 డేస్కే వచ్చేయకండి. అసలు పంపించింటే నేను ఇచ్చేస్తే కొత్త పర్లేదు, నాటే విషయం. ఓకే ఓకే బెటర్ స్పేస్. ఓకే సరే
Generally, one space will be there between the strings. If one or two strings, even that also will be considered as space. Even whether it is one or two spaces, it will consider the space, and the string will be break into array when you are using explore. Any more questions? See, try to get good grip on erections, string functions, next loops.
hats
the same.
add a word.
Just the syntax is different, but the concept of the if words or the value words logic is same. But syntax might be varied. So just try to get the grip on this loops, string functions, array functions. These are the basic concepts. If you get good grip on these functions, and then you can write any type of program. That is any type of complex applications also. Any questions?
Insert enter. Insert enter.